What is up, YouTube? So this is a test run. I'm just messing around to see, first of all, what the sound quality is like, what the video quality is like. Um, it's not an ideal setup for sure, but I figure I'd just try it. Everything is about trial and error, so probably won't get any views on this, but that's okay. It's just for myself, really. And if anyone happens to join along, that's great. So, um, yeah, so I'm just cruising here. Um, let's see here. 0 views in 1 minute. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I've just been messing around with my channel. I started this channel and I made about maybe 6 videos, and then I decided to stop making content. Um, I didn't invest in any equipment because I wanted to see first if I was going to continue it or not. I believe I started in January of 2021, and I saw that I could do it. One of my videos has 32,000 views. The video I have on an R129 SL500, and most of my other videos haven't really gone too crazy. But again, um, it's not as easy as it looks to make stuff. And I didn't want to invest a bunch of money into like video equipment, video editing equipment. So I used very basic stuff. I used an iPhone. I used my MacBook, and pretty much that I didn't even pay for any editing software. And then I just stopped making videos for a while, and then now I wanted to try it again just to see what happens. Um, so I've just been for the last month making shorts on YouTube, just kind of using content that I already had filmed for the most part. And one of the things that I wanted to do is, or I guess I didn't want to do, is I never wanted to have a fake persona or fake personality just for YouTube. So everything that I do is just kind of what I enjoy, and I enjoy cars. I actually changed the name of my channel. This guy's riding my ass like crazy for no reason. You guys can't see him, but this guy in a Ford, looks like a Ford Ranger pickup, just right up on me. So anyways, initially my channel was called Vitamin Jaffrey, and then I changed it to carD.O. Um, Wanted to film automotive content, and I'm a DO. Um, and so that's what I did. I changed my name on there. Um, and I have videos up of my Alpina V6, which I have since sold. And I also had um, videos of video up of my SL500, which I also sold. Both of them I sold. And I regret selling them, but it's life. You live and you learn. Um, so yeah, so um, I do have a GoPro as well, but I kind of stopped using that. Um, it's just easier to film on an iPhone. Maybe if I get more into it, I can start using multiple cameras and stuff like that. Although one person in one of the comments in one of my videos had said that YouTubers need to figure out that we don't want to watch them driving, we want to see the road. So that's what this view is. This view is the road. So yeah, it's kind of the plan here is to just mess around and see kind of what gets some traction. I'm a doctor, so I could talk to you about medical stuff, but there's a lot better people out there who can comment on that kind of stuff. I was wondering if I should use. I haven't messed around with this artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, but I was thinking about using that to generate some medical content. So if you're joining, I'm just doing a test run. This is the first time I'm going live. I wanted to just see what it's like, and this is really just an audio and video check. It's currently, if this is accurate, 47 degrees in Metro Detroit. This guy Shmee makes it look easier than it really is. As far as other YouTubers that I watch, obviously I watch Smoking Tire Podcast, Matt Farah, and also watch Me 150. Some of his content's good, some of it's a little too much for me. Um, Vin Wiki, can't go wrong with Vin Wiki. Rabbit's always got good stories. Curated TV is also a great channel. I used to watch a lot of Tavares and Hoovy. Don't really watch those guys too much anymore, but if I see something interesting, I'll watch it. And I no longer watch Manny Pushman. I used to watch his stuff. Something just seems kind of off about that guy. I know it's bad form to comment on other people, content creators' content, but it's just my observations. So we are in my 992 Carrera 4S, and this is the second 992 C4S that I've owned. The first one was 2020 Aventurine Green Metallic C4S that I had, a 2020 that I flipped because of how crazy the market was. It was a 4,000 mile 992 C4S with Aventurine Green Metallic, and it was a pretty base car. It had about 10K worth of options. It had the brown interior with the wood trim inside, and I actually got it from Porsche Beechwood, and they had mispriced the car. So they only had it was a CPO vehicle, and they had it listed for $4,000 above, or excuse me, $3,000 above MSRP, which I don't think they had caught up with the market. So I bought it last summer, and I had it for 5 months. I put 5,000 miles on the car, and then I flipped it for a profit. I sold it for 10K over MSRP. Unfortunately, Michigan has a 6% sales tax, so after tax, insurance, and title, all that kind of stuff, it was break even. So I pretty much drove the car for free for 5-6 months, and I really enjoyed it. I took it to the track, raced it there, and then I sold it, and I bought a Lexus RX 350, a 2017 Lexus RX 350, and I got bored with it after a day. So I was looking again for another 911, and I went with a 996 C4S. So it was my first manual car, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I got it for a really good deal. It was a black on black 6-speed manual C4S that I picked up in Florida. And it was actually a very heavily optioned car, which was nice. It had the Porsche Sports exhaust, which I really recommend. And I drove that. I had that for 3 or 4 months. I had put $4,000 into it, but then I sold it for $4,000 profit. So net cost of ownership was zero, excluding tax, title, and all that kind of stuff. And the reason why I got rid of it was I just do too much commuting, and I wanted something that was more modern, more reliable. Honestly, on these Michigan roads, I was feeling beat up at the end of the day. And there's a lot of, if you haven't been to Michigan or Metro Detroit, there's a lot of potholes. You might even be able to hear it in the audio. I'm not sure, but there's just a lot of rough terrain here. So um, that is why I got rid of the 996. I actually really miss it. I miss having a six-speed. I miss the more, I guess, analog feeling of the car. But as far as my daily commute, I just wanted something a little more modern. And so I went on a search for another 992 C4S. And this was, um, obviously the end of the, crazy used car market. So I did still overpay, I think, for the car. I eventually got a C4S again, 992 C4S, and I went with the same color combination. I only wanted the aventurine green metallic with the brown interior. This time I got a much heavier, excuse me, I got a much more optioned out car, um, which was nice, but I obviously paid more for it. But what was nice about this car was that it has full PPF on the front, like the hood, the fenders, the bumper, the doors, and the side skirts, all the way, you know, except for pretty much the rear end of the car is the only thing that doesn't have PPF. So the car was also listed very reasonably. It was listed again for 3K over MSRP. It was a 2020 CPO vehicle with 7,000 miles on the odometer. Um, so this car has a lot more options. It has heated and cooled seats. It has a sunroof. So my previous one, it had heated seats, but it didn't have the cooled seats. The previous one was, I think they call it a slick top, where it had no sunroof. This one has a sunroof. Some people prefer not having a sunroof, less problems long term, as well as less weight. But it's nice to have a glass roof. I mean, um, this one has the rear steer, the RS wheels, launch control, uh, sport chrono, PASM, and active lane keep assist. So a heavier spec car. The one option, it should be criminal actually for somebody to spec out a C4S without this option, and I think it's only a couple $100, maybe $500 to $700 maximum. I want to say was this car doesn't have heated steering wheel, which is a big bummer, especially living in this weather. But what are you going to do when you pick up a used car? You have to kind of, you just got to go with it. And I didn't realize it, I think, until I picked it up. But so yeah, I'm happy with this car. Um, it's got the thicker steering wheel. I think it's called a GT Sport steering wheel. It definitely rides a little different um, compared to my previous 992. Um, it feels faster 0 to 60 with the launch control. It has this button on there that will give you full use of the turbos, I think, for like 20 seconds of boost. And yeah, so far I enjoy it. It's winter here in Metro Detroit. I've got winter tires on. I really haven't driven it in the snow, aside from once where it was very, very light frost. Um, I debated whether I should get a winter beater, something cheap, versus dailying yes in the winter. Um, I don't know. Life's too short to like have something sit in the garage for 6 months and not use it. So I said, why not? Let's just use it. I don't know. Maybe I'll regret it later, but interestingly, on my Alpina V6, I drove that through 2 winters every day. And when I went to sell it, or I listed it, excuse me, for the first time on Cars and Bids back a year ago, I took it to the dealership and had it put them on the lift, and there was not. It was perfectly clean underneath, no rust. So I know that corrosion and rust, it usually takes maybe a decade or so to show itself. Um, so yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping that, I hate to say it, but with global warming or climate change, that it doesn't snow too badly. But obviously, we're not quite through the winter just yet. I was gonna go live earlier this week on Monday. I had the C4S in for service, and I'll get to that in a second. And I drove a loaner car. They gave me a Macan, a base Macan four banger, and I honestly was so grateful to get back into my 911. The Macan, at least the base model, it doesn't even really feel like a Porsche. I mean, it's got the Porsche badge, and the interface they try to copy, what you get in a 911. Materials are less upscale, um, and it honestly sounds like a Corolla or Civic, which, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but at that price point, and if you're paying for a Porsche, uh, really, unless you're getting a top trim model, it's really just not for me. I actually did consider, before I got my original 992 C4S last year, I did consider getting a Macan Turbo. I never drove one, but I was kind of shopping around and doing my research on prices. And ultimately, I just felt I wouldn't be happy in one, and I didn't get one. Although some of my buddies really do swear that on the racetrack, there's very few things that can keep up with the Macan Turbo. I know even Matt Farah is quite high on those Macan S's and Macan Turbos. I know you can get a lot of performance out of them. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think those motors are not unique to Porsche, though. I think it's platform. It shares it with Audi. So I haven't done a deep dive into this, but I know that people have reported engine problems and the oil leaks and things with those motors. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just something I want to stay away from. So I'm kind of glad I didn't get the Macan. It's a nice car, felt luxurious, that kind of thing. But just the engine noise, I just don't think fits with the Porsche. We got a Tesla. Looks like a Model Y. Not a Tesla guy, but obviously EV is the future, unfortunately, that everyone is pushing. I have to say, if I had to pick up an EV, I would be interested in a Rivian. I've never driven one. Um, the Lucid obviously is interesting as well, but it's just massive. Um, I did go to a Mercedes dealership recently in the United Kingdom, and I looked at the I think it's called GQB and GQC, I believe. Um, the I think it's called the GQB. That's based off, their, I think it's called the B Series SUV. And I was not impressed with the interior materials. I didn't end up driving it, but I mean, it's a 7-seater, which is kind of interesting, whereas everyone else in the competition is just 5-seater. One thing that's interesting is in the UK, they are going to a model where you have to buy directly from the manufacturer, so the dealership doesn't own the vehicle. They did have a nice cappuccino maker and free coffee and cappuccinos, which was nice. Um, but I actually was with a relative, and I was telling them to check out Lexus has a full electric EV SUV coming out. I think it's called the RZ, Lexus RZ, which, it'll give you more standard equipment. It's only a five-seater, though. It seems more compact. But I have a hard time justifying paying all that money for a car that doesn't even have leather seats. So if you're just joining, this is a test video. I just am messing around with live content to see what the audio and video situation is. So I'm going to re-review this at a later date. And so, yeah, so in terms of the Mercedes, it didn't seem like it didn't fit the brand, in my opinion. So previously, when I was looking at a BMW years ago, I looked at a 4 Series Grand Coupe, and I just can't get excited. Um, I couldn't get excited for that car because of the low rent feeling of the interior space. To me, if you're going to spend $50,000 on a car, it should feel like a $50,000 car inside. And, you know, when the first generation, the facelifted model of the X5 came out, that was a $50,000 vehicle. And when you sat in that car, it felt like you were sitting in a $50,000 vehicle. The surfaces, the interior surfaces, it just felt upscale. And I feel like with the way things have gone, you're really kind of missing out on that. And that's just me personally. So for somebody, that's not an enthusiast, um, I kind of recommend staying away from the entry level luxury products because you're really just paying for a badge, and I don't know, doesn't seem like you're getting the full experience. But again, I'm an enthusiast, so maybe I look at things a little differently than everyone else. So I don't know. Live content, I don't know if it's gonna work out. I figured I'll just try it just to see. I have Twitch as well that I haven't set up really, but maybe I'll mess around with Twitch to see what it's like. Um, Let me know if you want medical content. We could talk about medical stuff. Although I think there's better accounts for that online. Looking at the chat because I'm driving, obviously, so it's hard to kind of be dynamic with it. As far as the 992 C4S that I'm driving, I forgot to mention the original car I had was not a did not have the Porsche Sports exhaust, so it had the quad tip exhaust, and I'm kind of still not sure which one I like better. I do feel like there's a slightly different sound. The Porsche Sports exhaust. Initially, I didn't really like the look of the PSC. I like the quad exhaust tips better, although I know I'm in the minority on that. Um, I feel like the non Porsche Sports exhaust has a slightly higher pitch exhaust note. Um, there's more like crackles and burbles on the Porsche Sports exhaust. Um, I haven't seen too much online content for like louder exhaust because I think across the board most people would want a louder sound in the 992. Um, I've seen videos online. I haven't seen them in person, but maybe once this is out of warranty, I might consider it. Although I bought a 6-year extended warranty, so I want to say I'm covered for like 10 years with the warranty card. This lady is booking it in her E-Class coupe. Alrighty, so that was my test run. I'm going to be logging off here. We will see you next time.